Indian National Congress. A retired British official, Alan Octavian Hume, called for a meeting in Bombay. He wanted to create an association which would be under the supervision of the British and which would let the government know the demands of the Indian people. The meeting convened by A.O. Hume was held at Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College from 28 to 30th December 1885. This became the Indian National Congress. It was attended by 72 delegates from all over the country. The moderate phase. The Congress was dominated by the moderate leaders during its first 20 years. Surendranath Banerjee, Dinshaw Vacha, Firoz Shah Mehta and Gopal Krishna Gokhale were some important moderate leaders. They were moderate in their objectives and methods. They believed in constitutional methods and in methods of persuasion. British attitude towards the Congress. In the beginning, the British established a cordial relation with the Congress. Some British officials even attended Congress sessions and actively participated in the discussions. However, soon the British turned hostile towards it. They began to openly criticize the Congress. They realized that instead of becoming a means to contain the anger of the masses, the Congress was becoming the focus of Indian nationalism. The radical phase. The attitude of many Congress leaders changed when they saw the ignorant attitude of the British. The new group of leaders were called radical nationalists or simply as radicals. They were led by Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal, popularly known as Lal Bal Pal. These leaders felt that the present ways of the Congress were ineffective. They were in favor of more radical objectives and methods. They called for strong political actions such as strikes, boycotts of British institutions and goods, and mass demonstrations to spread awakening among the people and to achieve political reforms. Partition of Bengal 1905. Since Bengal province was politically most active, the British decided to divide it into two parts. On 19 July 1905, the Viceroy, Lord Curzon, issued an order dividing the province of Bengal, then consisting of present-day West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha and Bangladesh, into two parts. The decision of partition was widely criticized and almost all sections of society rose up in opposition. Demonstrations and public meetings were held throughout Bengal. People of all communities tied sacred threads on each other's wrist to express their solidarity and oneness. The national movement, instead of weakening, became more organized, radical and mass-based. Swadeshi and boycott. The partition of Bengal gave rise to two new methods of struggle, Swadeshi and boycott. Swadeshi literally means of one's own country. It was aimed at popularizing goods manufactured in India so that Indian industries could prosper. The method of boycott focused on asking people to boycott goods manufactured in Britain. This way, the British would stop treating India as a dumping ground for British goods. The movement soon spread all across the country and people began to boycott British goods and began to use Indian goods. Surat Split 1907. The movement against the partition of Bengal had temporarily united the moderates and the radicals. However, the differences in objectives and methods between the two were not easy to reconcile. At the Congress session in 1909 at Surat, there was a split between the two groups. The moderates began to control the Congress and the radicals decided to function from outside. The two groups were reunited in the Congress session at Lucknow in 1916. Revolutionary movement, the first phase. There emerged another group of people in the early 20th century in Bengal, Punjab and Maharashtra. Their idea was based on revolutionary methods. Young men advocated the use of force to expel the British from India. They formed secret societies to train their members in the use of firearms and explosives. Two of the most active revolutionary societies were the Abhinava Bharat Society in Maharashtra and the Anushilan Samiti in Bengal. The Chapekar brothers assassinated two unpopular British officials in Maharashtra. In 1908, in Muzaffarpur, Bihar, Khudiram Bose and Prafulla Chakki threw a bomb at Kingsford, the district judge. In 1912, an attempt was made on the life of Viceroy Lord Hardinge. Some revolutionary leaders who worked from outside India were Lala Hardayal, Ras Bihari Bose, Shyamaji Krishna Verma, Madam Bhikaji Kama, Muhammad Barkatullah, Sohan Singh Bhakna, V.D. Savarkar and Obidullah Sindhi. The British used all means to suppress the revolutionaries. Khudiram Bose was hanged. Aurobindo Ghosh and Barindra Kumar Ghosh were put behind jail. Some revolutionaries were sentenced to life imprisonment.